Hi everyone, James Baek here, and it's time for some more VGC 2015 battles from the Those Battle Spot Ladder. Today's team will be a new team with Blastoise, Pachirisu, Escadrille, Hydreigon, Talonflame, and Breloom, a team you guys may be familiar with because I did use it in the past against some YouTubers. But anyway, we're going to find two battles and see how we do. Going to use this team since I'm actually comfortable with it, and I have no idea what kind of team I'm going to use for the future episode, so I'm going to use this team since I'm actually comfortable with it. Our first opponent of the day will be a 1630 player, Eric, Canada, and we'll see the team of Gengar, Suicune, Thundurus, Metagross, Hydreigon, and Conkeldurr. This team looks familiar. I think Aaron Zhang used this on Road to Rank, so it should be easy to anticipate. Assault Vest, Conkeldurr, Life Orb, Hydreigon, Mega Metagross with Sub, the Thundurus, bulky support, Gengar, obviously Focus Sash, and the Suicune, Citrus Berry, Tailwind. So really not a hard team to fight. Question is, who do I want to lead with? Problem is that Suicune. I do want to get the Tailwind up right away. You know, I think a pretty safe lead is Talonflame Hydreigon. Seems really safe. I'm gonna bring Blastoise and Pachirisu in the back, I think. Then again, Escadrille is tempting. It gets the Earthquakes off, Mode Breaker, Choice Bandit, and those would do some pretty heavy damage to my opponent. Do I need Pachirisu in this? I do like Pachirisu in this, though. So we'll see how this goes. The problem is, Suicune is one of the annoying Pokemon to deal with against this team because it's just so bulky and it can set up its own Tailwind, which screws with my own Tailwind. So I'm gonna have to knock out Suicune right away if I can. He's actually gonna lead a Hydreigon and Thundurus. That's not a lead I want to deal with right now. As I'm going to... this is such a bad lead. If I remember, it's Timid Hydreigon. Maybe I should put the Scarf on Hydreigon. Specs hasn't helped me much. What can I really switch in? I guess I could have Pachirisu. Actually, that's not such a bad play. I'm going to switch out Talonflame into Pachirisu and try to knock out this Thundurus with a Draco Meteor. This seems relatively safe. My opponent also doesn't know if it's Choice Scarf, so he might be worried. As he Thunderwaves into the Talonflame slot, interesting play. As we see the Draco Meteor into the Hydreigon slot, which I'm fine with, because that means it's going to be a -2 Hydreigon, and that's not really anything to really worry about. As Hydreigon is going to faint, but I'm fine with that, to be honest. Life Orb Hydreigon, yep, as expected. I can bring out Blastoise now. Now, the only problem is now Suicune's a big threat to my team, as I don't really have that much offensive pressure. It's kind of obvious. I want to look at my speed tiers real quick. Pachirisu, 115. Blastoise, 103. Okay, so I could get a Super Fang and but that activates Citrus Berry. The thing here is I'm expecting the Taunt onto Pachirisu and the Hydreigon to switch out. Maybe into Gengar. So I'm gonna Super Fang the Thundurus and go for the Ice Beam. Do I go for the Ice Beam? Or do I try to Nuzzle? Actually, maybe I'll just go for the Nuzzle onto the Hydreigon and go for the Water Spout. As he's not even going to switch out Hydreigon. Wow, let's see what he went for. I really think Hydreigon would have switched out there, but let's see. Swagger. Oh, we're not playing this game, are we? I really don't want to play this game right now, Swagger. Earth Power. if he swaggers my Blastoise, why not just go for the Thunderbolt, or maybe even the Thunder Wave, but swagger, why? Nuzzle's going to connect with the Hydreigon, and that's going to paralyze it, which means this Hydreigon's really slow, and it's probably going to be sacked off. As Blastoise is going to be confused, and hits itself, which is unfortunate, because my Water Spout does even less damage here. I really am not a fan of swagger. I'm going to follow me with Pachirisu, expecting the Electric type move, and I'm going to Ice Beam the Hydreigon slot. Swagger. I'm really not a fan of that move, but it works in VGC, which is why people use it, as we see the hidden power from the Thundurus. Okay, that's going to bring me to my Citrus Berry. Critical hit on top of that, so wow, Pachirisu getting beaten pretty hard right now. Let's see, can Blastoise pull through this swagger? Please get an attack off. It does, and gets the Ice Beam off, which will knock out this Hydreigon after 2 Life Orb recoils, which is excellent. And we see... let's see who he's going to bring in. Maybe Metagross? I would assume Metagross. He could also bring out something like Gengar or Conkeldurr. Okay, this complicates things, but Talonflame does really well against it. The problem obviously right now is that I don't have Talonflame out. And I don't have Protect on Pachirisu. I would expect the... I don't know, if I were my opponent, I would double attack the Pachirisu. So I think I'm going to switch out Pachirisu, go into Talonflame. I really doubt he Thunderbolts into the Pachirisu slot. And I'm going to protect with Blastoise. Yeah. Going for that play. Pachirisu is going to withdraw into the Talonflame. And this will give me a chance to threaten his Conkeldurr. And thankfully Blastoise is actually able to snap out of confusion, which is huge. As we see the swagger into the Talonflame slot. Oh my god, I can't tell if that's good or bad. This Conkeldurr goes for the Drain Punch into Pachirisu slot, which actually does a pretty big chunk. Obviously he's scared of the Brave Bird. So right now what I'm expecting is Conkeldurr to switch out into the Metagross to take a Brave Bird, and the Thundurus just to go for the Thunderbolt into Talonflame. So you know what, I'm going to switch out into Pachirisu to take the Thunderbolt and Water Spout. But if he stays in with Conkeldurr, I'm in trouble. And if he Thunderbolts my Blastoise, I'm also in trouble. Gonna withdraw Talonflame here because I have to make these plays in order to come back. No, he's actually gonna stay in, wow, and go for the hidden power into Pachirisu. Maybe he predicted this. As I go for the Water Spout, which will do heavy damage to both Pokemon. Yeah, that does a lot. And the Ice Punch into Pachirisu. Nice play by my opponent. However, I am able to live. As Thundurus going to heal with its leftovers. Now I'm pretty much expecting Mach Punch and the Thunderbolt. Mach Punch the Pachirisu and Thunderbolt the Blastoise. So what I can do here, I don't know, my opponent hasn't played like that. But I'm going to switch out Pachirisu to Talonflame again. This is getting old, but I'm pretty much going to do this and protect with Blastoise. Yeah, this is getting pretty old fast, but it should work in my favor unless he went for the Hidden Power Ice into the Talonflame. As we see the Mach Punch into the Pachirisu slot, perfect. Let's see if he went for the Thunderbolt into the Talonflame slot. He Hidden Powers into Blastoise slot, interesting. Maybe he's expected Blastoise to switch out? But I'm fine with that, as I got in Talonflame for free here. And I am going to protect Talonflame and go for the Ice Beam onto the Thundurus, because the Thundurus is the big threat right now. He's going to stay with Conkeldurr, interesting. As we see the Hidden Power into the Talonflame, probably predicting a switch out into my Pachirisu, but I am able to knock out the Thunders. And we see the Drain Punch into the Blastoise, which I should be able to take easily. Yeah, I'm able to take that really easily. Conkeldurr going to heal back, and we're probably going to see Blastoise as my opponent's last Pokemon. And this is actually really good of a situation now, as I can Brave Bird the Conkeldurr, and I can Aura Spear the Blastoise. And Conkeldurr most likely holding the Assault Vest item. So, going to make that play. Especially since he might be actually forced to protect with Metagross here. As Metagross is going to Mega Evolve, which is fine by me. And let's see. No Protect's coming from my opponent. Brave Bird is going to connect with the Conkeldurr, and the recoil shouldn't be able to knock me out at this range. Even with the Life Orb, I think I'll still live. Let's see. Yeah, I'll be able to live. And then there's the Aura Spear, which my Blastoise is actually faster than this Metagross for some reason, even with Mega Evolving. That Aura Spear did a decent chunk, not really that much, as we see the Zen Headbutt into the Blastoise. 1 HP, wow. But right here, I'm going to Tailwind. Or do I? Actually, no, I'm going to Protect with Talonflame and go for the Aura Spear. Because no matter who he targets, if he targets Blastoise, I get a free switch into Pachirisu and it's game over from there. If he targets my Talonflame, I get chip damage onto the Metagross. As we see Metagross going for Protect, which I'm fine with. Because now I can overheat the Metagross and go for the Aura Spear. And there really shouldn't be any way for my opponent to come back from this. Unless overheat misses, of course. But I'm actually faster than Metagross, which is surprising since... And gets the knockout on Metagross. So I'm guessing my opponent ran an Adamant Mega Metagross because my Talonflame does not outspeed Jolly base 110s. Well, positive base 110. So that was actually definitely interesting. So the Adamant, this is why people run Jolly. But I could see Adamant with a Tailwind. It's actually pretty nice. However, that is going to cost him the game. Even though I think he would have still lost unless he had like Rock Slide on his Metagross, which is highly doubtful. But we're going to find a second battle and see how we do. I definitely did play... I definitely did make the wrong calls in most of the turns, but it did pay off because my opponent did base some luck with Swagger. He ended up just... Basically, it was just confusing for him to stay in with Conkeldurr when he had a Metagross where he could have easily switched in. That was the thing that really confused me. Maybe he predicted like a Flare Blitz into Conkeldurr. I'm not sure if Flare Blitz can KO Conkeldurr from the range it was at for most of the battle. We're going to find a second battle and see how we do. Our second opponent today will be Blake Power, Italy, 1782 rating, and I feel like I faced him before. I don't think I faced him actually. He's got a really interesting team. Arcanine, Terrakion, Charizard, Venusaur, Raichu, and Azumarill. So, most likely, it's going to be Dual Mega with Charizard and Venusaur. It could also be a Sun combo, but Venusaur, even in Sun, can carry the Venusaur, right, just in case. We also have the possibility Belly Drum Azumarill, which will be annoying to deal with. I would assume this Arcanine would be support, since Charizard-wise, a pretty heavy hitter in the Sun anyway. And it can abuse Morning Sun, which is going to be a factor. And unfortunately, I don't really have a way to deal with Sun pretty well against his team. I do have Talonflame, though. But he's probably going to lead the Terrakion. So, let's see. As always, what do I want to lead with? Pachirisu actually doesn't do as hot here, just because there's a lot of spread moves that could be happening. I'm honestly tempted just to lead Talonflame and Breloom, since Talonflame and Breloom seems pretty good here. I'm actually wondering if I should leave the Blastoise out, because... Let's see, what can Blastoise really do? I mean, in the Sun, Water Spouts are really weakened. Aura Spear doesn't hit anything on his team really that hard, except Terrakion and maybe the Raichu, which anything else can hit. And Ice Beam only really hits the Venusaur hard. So I think we'll leave Blastoise out. Hydreigon does really well here. And so does Escadrille, because Escadrille can get the Earthquakes, the Rock Slides off, which do really well against his team. And Hydreigon does have Earth Power as a secondary ground type move. So let's see how this is going to go. I'm wondering if my opponent will have any tricks up his sleeve. Could be Pledge with the Charizard and Venusaur, and Pledge is one of my favorite moves with Charizard and Venusaur, but we'll see. As my opponent leads Raichu in Azumarill, which is a fine lead by me, because I am going to lead my Talonflame and Breloom. And right here, I can go for the safe Tailwind, or do I want to Protect? No, I don't want to Protect. I think I'm going to Brave Bird into the Raichu and Bullet Seed the Azumarill. The reason here is he's probably going to fake out and set up a Belly Drum. The question is who he fakes out. If he fakes out Talonflame, Breloom obviously knocks out Azumarill. And if he fakes out Breloom, then I get Brave Bird onto the Raichu and break its Focus Sash. And Azumarill can set up the Belly Drum, but Brave Bird will knock it out from Belly Drum range. There's also the fact that you could protect Azumarill and go for the Thunderbolt and knock out my Talonflame. So I actually might want to set up the Tailwind here. You know what? That's actually what I'm going to do. I'm going to set up the Tailwind and Bullet Seed the Azumarill. Let's see. We're going to see the Fake Out onto the Breloom slot, which I'm fine with, as Critical Hit doesn't really matter. Tailwind is going to be set up. Let's see what the Azumarill goes for. It's probably going to go for the Aqua Jet. Interesting. Not opting for the Belly Drum. Just trying to knock out my Talonflame, which is actually able to survive anyway. And Breloom's going to be alive. So that play, it actually does make sense, but Aqua Jet does not knock out Talonflame, as you guys see. So right here, I really just want to knock out this Azumarill right away. Raichu can't do much to my Breloom, so I think I'm going to protect my Talonflame here and go for the Bullet Seed onto the Azumarill. Because the Azumarill is the bigger threat, because Play Rough can knock out my Breloom at this range. As I do get the Bullet Seed off, it is Stab. Well, let's see, how many times will it hit? If it hits about 4 times, it will pretty much be guaranteed to knock out. Maybe even 3 times, but I'm not sure with the Citrus Berry, but it might. But I do hit 3 times, which is fortunate, and that will knock out the Azumarill, which is perfect, since Azumarill would have been annoying for Escadrille to deal with. As we see the Thunderbolt into the Breloom slot, interesting play by my opponent. Probably predicting Talonflame to protect there, or just knock itself out due to recoil. That definitely makes sense as well. As we're going to see my opponent's next Pokemon, Charizard. Okay. So right here, I can obviously Spore the Charizard. There's honestly nothing wrong with that, and I think I'm going to go for that play. And I'm going to overheat the Raichu. There's honestly nothing stopping me from getting the Spore off. I mean, most likely we're going to see Charizard protect and Raichu trying to go for a Thunderbolt. But then again, even if he does that, I'm really just okay with it, because I'm not sure if Raichu can knock out my Breloom with another Thunderbolt. And Talonflame will definitely survive this turn, unless Raichu targets it down with a Thunderbolt. Charizard's pretty much going to go to sleep unless it protects here. And I still have one more turn of Tailwind, which I can just Spore the Charizard slot. And depending on who he Thunderbolts, if he Thunderbolts my Talonflame slot, I get a free switch into Escadrille, who can Rock Slide. And if he switches out if he targets my Breloom, it will live, and Talonflame lives another day. Charizard going to Mega Evolve. It is Y, and it's going to get the Drought off. As no Protect's coming, so I'm going to get Spore off and an Overheat off onto the Raichu, which is really nice, as Raichu going to be brought down to its Focus Sash, as Talonflame is going to have its attack decreased and will live. And I'm going to get the Spore off onto the Charizard, which is excellent, as Charizard will be taking a turn of sleep this turn. And let's see what the Raichu goes for. Thunderbolt into the Breloom slot, so it's just aggressively trying to knock out the Breloom, as Charizard's going to take a first turn of sleep. It's excellent by me. Right here, I'm going to protect my Talonflame. I don't want Charizard to wake up here. And the question is, do I Mach Punch or do I Bullet Seed? I think I'm going to Bullet Seed the Raichu. What do I have as switching options? I'm expecting Terrakion as my opponent's last Pokemon. Yeah, I'm just going to Bullet Seed. the Raichu. Talonflame is going to protect here. Let's see if Raichu has like a feint or something. As Raichu is actually going to protect. Great play by my opponent. Let's see what Charizard... Is Charizard able to wake up here? Oh, it does wake up and it gets the Heat Wave off. Which is going to knock out my Breloom, but I'm actually fine with this. His Breloom is going to feint, but... And Tailwind's going to peter out, obviously. That's bad, but... I can now safely bring in Hydreigon here. And Tailwind obviously petered out, but right now, I can safely go for the... I can go for the Tailwind play with my Talonflame. And I can... Earth Power the Raichu slot. And honestly, I don't think he can knock out Hydreigon, so this should be perfect. Unless he has Focus Blast on Charizard, which I'm really hoping he wouldn't. As we see the Thunderbolt from Raichu into the Hydreigon slot, probably just trying to get damage off, or maybe a para, but doesn't get it. I get the Earth Power off onto the Raichu, which is huge, as that will pick up the knockout on Raichu, and let's see, what does this Charizard go for? Heat Wave, and that will knock out my Talonflame and do some damage to my Hydreigon, but not that much. As Talonflame is going to be knocked out, and this is perfect by me, because Talonflame wasn't doing much. Doorbell here. I'm going to bring out Escadrille here. And Escadrille really likes the situation it is. And we see Venusaur as my opponent's last Pokemon. Interesting. I do have the Tailwind up, however. I did predict this wrong. Maybe I should have went for the Fire Blast. But I really expected Terrakion to be in the back. So I'm going to Rock Slide here and Earth Power the Venusaur slot. Now the problem is Venusaur Sleep Powder. That's really a big issue to deal with. I know Venusaur can't knock out my... It can't knock out my Escadrille, but can it? Well, unless it has like Hidden Power Fire or something, but... Question is, number one, do I outspeed it? I probably do, unless it's timid. And question number two is... Well, does Venusaur have Sleep Powder, and does it connect? So I definitely played myself into a wall here, but I had to go for the Earth Power. If I went for the Fire Blast and he had Terrakion in the back, I wouldn't have been able to knock out the Terrakion. I'm locked into a move of Escadrille. This Venusaur is actually going to protect. Did Charizard go for the protect too? Oh, it did. He's stalling out the Tailwind, but to be honest, that's fine by me. That's really fine by me. As Venusaur is not going to get a Sleep Powder off this turn, and I still have 2 turns of Talon left, so he has to hope for like a double protect. So I'm going to go for the same play. And this is actually really good now, because I think his only play was to... Well, maybe he was expecting the Fire Blast on Hydreigon, and maybe he didn't expect the Choice Specs or Choice Scarf item. Which does make sense. As I get the Earth Power, Charizard's not going to go for the Rock Slide, so Earth Power... That's a lot to Venusaur, and the Rock Slide, it does connect with the Charizard, and that will be the game. As Rock Slide does pick up the knockout on Charizard, leaves Venusaur with a bit of HP, but Venusaur is going to go for the Sludge Bomb into the Hydreigon slot, which I'm fine with. As Hydreigon's going to be knocked out here, but the sun should be going away now. Yes, and now my Escadrille is still faster than the Venusaur, and even if he protects to stall on my Tailwind, I'm still faster as we revealed last turn. So just going to Rock Slide here. I am locked into it after all. As long as I don't miss a Rock Slide, he gets like a Sleep Powder off, and I get maximum sleep turns, then I miss another Rock Slide. There really should be no way I'm losing this game. But you know, it could happen. It can happen, and... Oh boy, let's hope this Rock Slide connects. Come on, Rock Slide hit. Rock Slide connects. Okay, that will be the game. So 2 wins in this episode, even though, I don't know, I don't feel satisfied about those wins. Even though I did win, I did make some wrong calls, especially in the first game. Obviously you saw that I was not predicting it right, or my opponent was just playing really risky at that point. And the second game, I called it Terrakion coming in, because Terrakion actually does really well against my team, as you guys saw. It checks my Talonflame, it checks my Hydreigon and Escadrille. It does a lot to my Blastoise. Rock Slide is annoying to deal with. But yeah, it's kind of surprising they didn't bring Terrakion, but that's his call. I hope you guys enjoyed this VGC episode though. Be sure to give it a like if you did. Be sure to hit that subscribe button for more VGC content. You guys should check out my other series as well, such as my Kid Icarus Uprising, Let's Play, and my singles Road to Rank. You guys can also check out my Twitter and give me a follow if you guys want to know more about channel updates for my channel, and follow me on Twitch because I do live stream. And you guys can check out my blog for VGC teams. This team will be being put on a blog in the future, but after I blog the multiple teams that I've used in the VGC episodes. And I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Stay safe, and yeah, later guys.